online editor. Before I start, of course, subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that crap. But we're live right now with the news that Blessing Awodibu, the boogeyman, has announced less than an hour ago. I was busy on writing an article. Sorry I didn't get this sooner. He is not going to be doing the Arnold, and here is what he had to say about that. Huge thanks to the Arnold Sports for the invite. One of my all-time favorite shows, prayer sign. But unfortunately, I will not be doing the Arnold this year, going off completely for almost 3 months after Indy in New York shows, and traveling really affected my Olympia prep negatively. I definitely lost some muscle mass, and I didn't have enough time to fill out my physique before the Olympia. So right now, I'm just giving my body the much needed time to bring my shape back before any prep. Expect a crazy comeback later this year from hashtag the boogeyman, hashtag underdog mentality, powered by @MuscleTech. I've also heard rumors that he is not working with George Farrar anymore. That's a rumor. I have not substantiated that. I should have just texted George and found out. I texted Blessing yesterday to see if he was doing the Arnold, but of course he wanted to make the announcement himself, which he did. So, so the original lineup for the Arnold had Sean Clarita, Samson Dowda, William Bonac, Akim Williams, Blessing, Charles Griffin, Justin Rodriguez, Kamal El-Garni. Charles Griffin almost immediately posted when the list came out that he would not be doing the show, and he apologized for any misunderstanding. And now we have Blessing out. So that would seem to have dropped the lineup down to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. However, Neil Curry from the United Kingdom, who was on the list for Classic Physique, has announced he will instead be going into Open. So we still have 7 men, which not the biggest Arnold lineup, but we do have 2 Olympia 212 champions in the lineup, as well as William Bonac, a 2-time Arnold Classic champ and Mr. Olympia runner-up. Samson Dowda, of course, very exciting newcomer, possible winner for the show. So I still think it's going to be a very good lineup, but, let's hear what you guys have to say. That's why I go live. I love hearing what you guys have to say. And, yeah, here we go. First comment. First, I got to look at this commercial for sneakers, apparently. Hang on. Get rid of that. No, get rid of that. Yeah, I don't really care about your sneakers right now. How do I get rid of this stupid... Okay. So Natalia Coelho, who is our reigning women's physique Olympia champion, says, I think it's time for the Arnold Classic to add women's physique back. Yeah, why not? I mean, they got rid of women's bodybuilding years ago. They got rid of men's 212 bodybuilding, and then they got rid of women's physique. But they've added, they've added wellness. They've added all these other divisions. Yeah, why not bring back women's physique? It's a bodybuilding division. It's not too extreme. I'd love to see it come back. Why Beats, agree with Natalia. Now only 6 guys. No, we have 7 because Neil Curry, who clearly was not doing his body justice by coming down to whatever the weight was for Classic. He's going to be a much, much more impressive open bodybuilder. I don't know how long it's going to take him to have enough size to really push the top guys in the open, but I'm very interested to see in what he can do in just, oh man, is this a commercial? Just only 10 weeks between the Olympia and the Arnold. So Neil, how much more can he fill out? I guess we're going to see. I'm curious to see. Let's see. No, the 6 guys. No, that's not true. Well, how do I get rid of these no bull commercials? There we go. No bull sneakers. I have a few pairs, but I don't want to be looking at commercials now. Everyone will be first call out. Well, it's actually 7 guys. That's a little too much for first call out. But yeah, there won't be a lot of call outs. And everybody will get a great look. Everybody will get compared to everybody. So that's a good thing. Nobody's going to get overlooked or ignored. Nobody can say they didn't really look at me. They're gonna all get inspected and compared to each other. See, do I think Nick Walker will? No, we're jumping in. See, the thing, guys, all of you guys who should jump in, who should do it, this is not that type of show. There's any other pro show, aside from the Olympia and the Arnold, you can, if you're a pro, if you have a pro card and you want to do it, you can enter. If I had managed to get my pro card as a master's, and I'd be a horrible, shitty pro, I'm fully in admission to this, I could do the New York Pro, I could do the Tampa Pro, I could do the Chicago Pro, Toronto Pro, Romania Muscle Fest. Any open show that a pro wants to do, they can enter, except for the Mr. Olympia, which you have to be qualified to do. You can't just say, I think I'll do the Olympia. No, it doesn't work that way. And the Arnold Classic is invitational. However, I will say that due to these circumstances, I don't think the Arnold Classic would say no to someone like a Nick Walker, someone like a Derek Lunsford, if they called them up right now and said, hey, I'll jump in. I'll take that $200,000 first prize. Yeah, I don't think they would say no. So under normal circumstances, I would say you guys are all on crack or you're ignorant. Milos called me ignorant the other day. We made a whole video about it. It's coming out soon. But any other year, I'd say you guys are way off. Nobody can jump in. It's too late. These are the names. These are the people in the show. It's etched in stone. Nobody else can enter, but maybe due to these mitigating, extenuating circumstances of a small lineup in the first place, and now where we have guys dropping out, I could see where they certainly would not say no to, especially a big name. I think if some normal schmuck, a B-level guy, wanted to come in, they'd say no, because that's not really going to help them out. But somebody like a Hunter Labrada, somebody like a Nick Walker, a Derek Lunsford, if they decided they want to do it, that's a huge name. That's going to be a major draw for ticket sales, for pay-per-view, all that stuff. So let's see. Do you think Nick Walker will? I hope so. Dr. Fool, too. I don't understand. Is it Arnold Classic management who are not inviting athletes, or is it athletes who are declining the invite? Only 7 athletes, out of which half of them are 212 in Classic. So they do invite people that they want, the biggest names. They invite those people, and then anyone else who wants to compete, they can apply. And of course, if you're a schmuck, if you're a nobody, they're going to decline your invitation because they want the best lineup on that stage. It's supposed to be very close to the Mr. Olympia lineup. It's supposed to be the second best show with, the second best lineup of any contest in that season. And this is a strong lineup, but there certainly could have been more. I do feel the fact that the Olympia was held so late and there was only a 10-week window between the Olympia and the Arnold Classic, I think that really hurt the Arnold as far as a lot of these guys had already been in prep. Standard prep is 16 weeks. That's 4 months. Add another 10 weeks to that. Now you're into 6 months, 6.5 months of being on prep, being on a diet, all the things that, the PEDs, all that stuff that's involved in prepping for a contest. Now they got to do that for another 2.5 months. Yeah, it's a really nice payday, but to some people, their health is more important. They just know that their bodies aren't going to hold up. Even if they want to do it, they know, I put everything into the Olympia prep. My body's thrashed. I know I'm not going to look that great. Some of these guys are confident. Obviously, Clarita's very confident. Kamal, Bonac, Samson, Akim, Justin, they were all in the Olympia. Kamal, they're confident that they can still bring a really good package. But obviously other people, like Griffin, he was burnt out. He admitted it. Blessing, he's burnt out. They're just burnt out. Their bodies and their minds, they're done. And it's not really a sign of weakness. I think it's, in a lot of cases, this is probably the smartest thing anybody could do. If you know you're burnt out, why would you keep pushing and pushing and pushing? Especially when we're trying to be more health conscious these days. Let's go back to you guys. I'm sorry. Curry can be a real force in 2 more years. Brandon Curry, he's already won the Arnold twice. He's won the Olympia. I mean, he's a force now. Robert Nels, pretty short. Yeah, Arnold invites everyone, but you got to accept. He doesn't invite everyone. They invite the top names. They don't invite everybody. They want the best people. So they didn't invite like everybody from the Olympia because there were 30 guys in that. They didn't invite all those guys. Rogue Silver, Blessing needs to build those legs up. He needs to stop talking and start squatting. I know he was dealing with a knee injury for years, and I think it's just getting resolved now. So now he's able to fully train his legs again based on an interview that we did a few months back. And I agree with you. The first thing I saw, when I saw him at the Olympia, I knew he was flat. He had lost overall muscle. And as is usually the case, when you're flat and you over diet or over prep or lose muscle, it's most apparent in your worst body part, which in Blessing's case is his legs. So as soon as he came out, I saw his legs. I'm like, oh no, he's going to be like second to last or last call out, which he was. He did not get a good look, and deservedly he didn't look that great. So I'm all with the judges on that one. Do I like bison? I mean, if somebody wants to give me some bison, I'll eat it, but I don't go out of my way to eat it. Greg Ulysse, IFBB Pro from Montreal, Canada. Did I say it right? Bonjour, Gregory. Yeah, what's up? The closeness between the Olympia and the Arnold is killing the Arnold. I agree. In years past, the Olympia was always held in September or October. It was never held any later than like mid-October. And that gave a good cushion of time. Arnold would be first week of March. So you'd have, let's say it happened in early October. You would have October, November, December, January, February. You'd have 5 months in between. That's enough time for a lot of guys to feel like, okay, I can take a break from my prep, let my body, my mind recharge, and then get right back into it for the Arnold. But 10 weeks is 2.5 months. It's just really, it's awful timing. And I don't blame these guys. And I do kind of feel bad for the Arnold because it should be a very prestigious show. This is a show that, Cutler won it 3 times. Ronnie Coleman won it. I mean, Flex Wheeler, Dexter won it 5 times. It's been a great, great show for many years since it started in 1989. I don't like to see the quality of it decline. I don't like to see it lose any prestige or glamour because it is the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. And I know a lot of you guys aren't enamored with Arnold Schwarzenegger for whatever reasons, whatever he said about vaccines and COVID and stuff. But you know what? He was still the guy that without Arnold, we wouldn't be doing all this. I don't think the sport would be as prominent as it is now. I know Joe Weider did a lot for it, Ben Weider, his brother, several other people, but Arnold Schwarzenegger and Pumping Iron, and the fact that he became a major, major motion picture star, it did a lot for our sport. It brought a lot of awareness, and it put Arnold in a position to put on this show and make it what it is. Do I let Bison? What's up? The close between Olympia. Raymond Jones. Let's go back there. Blessing wasn't a factor anyways. Sean won the lottery with this lineup. Sean is definitely a favorite, but I mean, Samson Dauda is no joke. Kamal, you can obviously say Sean just beat Kamal, so I don't see Kamal beating Sean at this show. Samson's got a chance, and William Bonac, my goodness. Bonac slipped. He didn't look his best at the Olympia. We know this, but look at last year's Arnold Classic. Look at last year's Boston Pro. That William Bonac, that's the best version of William. That William Bonac, who's already won 2 Arnold Classics and has been runner-up to the Olympia the year that Curry won, he could win this. Absolutely. Bonac is more than capable of winning this. I would not write William Bonac off for 1 second. That would be foolish. Evan Lower, find it odd that there are no updates from Olympia regarding Orlando. Website is still old info from Vegas. Even links to buy expo tickets. Well, I mean, it's still just January. I wouldn't worry about it too much. They got plenty of time. J.W. Andrew Court. No wonder they are pushing the paid in advance pay-per-view discounts so hard with the YouTube content creators. This is a freaking scam, man. No, I think they're just trying to get pay-per-view sales are hard. It's not easy to sell pay-per-views, and the reason is because a lot of these YouTube creators, like Nick, which Nick am I talking about? They'll do Nick Strength and Power, Nick Trigilli. They'll do summaries right after everything with highlights of everything, and a lot of their fans, they're not going to buy the pay-per-view because they're like, well, I'll just wait. The show will be over, and like 5-10 minutes later, I can watch all the highlights on Nick's video. Why am I going to buy the pay-per-view? So they're involving these guys now in it, trying to get them to use their platforms to sell more pay-per-views. But I mean, scam is kind of a harsh word, guy. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Greg Ulisse, again, at this point, I think the Arnold will be a lot more open to the stars. What does that mean? Open to the stars? I don't know what that means. Tighter Samson will be difficult to beat. Yeah, I mean, Samson's 295 pounds, guys. He's no joke, with great shape, tiny waist. Dexter would have done it at 50 plus if he was still competing. Yeah, I mean, Dexter's already won it. Dexter's the all-time Arnold Classic champ, 5 wins. He's got 5 Arnold Classic wins. I don't see anybody ever doing that again. I think Samson will smoke it, says Nick Heath. He meant Neil. I don't know who meant Neil. Anyway, Curry. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Curry's in the show. Yeah, he's doing. Is Blessing not working with George Farrar? I do not know. I could probably drop George a text message and he would let me know. But I haven't heard any announcement either way. I don't think it matters. I mean, honestly, they were a really good fit. They worked well together, and I hope they are still working together because it seemed like they had a really good working relationship. But honestly, I think all the top coaches, because I see people saying he should hire Honey, he should hire the Cement Factory, Chad, or, they'll rattle off their favorite, Matt Jansen. They'll rattle off whoever did poorly at the Olympia. They'll say, so-and-so should work with this coach, as if, any one coach is the solution. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Moose World. Where are you there? Thank you for that donation. Appreciate it. Moose World, everybody. Thanks to Moose World. I don't think a coach makes or break an athlete. It's their genetics. It's their work ethic. A great coach needs someone who's coachable. And sometimes they can be the key. I mean, Derek Lunsford had a very good coach his entire career, but then Hani took him to another level. So it's feasible that George is an excellent coach. Maybe somebody could be a better coach for Blessing. I don't know, and maybe we'll find out. We'll find out soon, I'm sure, because people love to talk about who's working with who. I mean, we don't have a lot of other things to talk about in this industry, do we? John, do you have any idea who's competing in the Masters Olympia? Perhaps Phil Heath. Phil Heath cannot, and it's because Phil Heath is 43 years old, and you have to be 45 to compete in the Masters Olympia in men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, and 212 bodybuilding. All the other divisions, classic physique, men's physique, all the women's divisions, bikini, fitness, figure, wellness, women's physique, you have to be 40. So Phil is not old enough yet. Nadim, Neil is open now, right? Yeah, Neil, I just looked. His past few posts are all about how excited he is for this new journey. He's got he knows he has a lot of work to do, but he's got great shape, structure, muscle quality. I don't think his frame was, we weren't seeing his full potential in Classic, and I think eventually. I don't think we're going to see it now this quickly. I don't think in 10 weeks he can go from Classic physique to his best open physique, open bodybuilding look, but, I'm sure his body's been starving and wanting to grow for a long time, and he's just been coming down to this weight that's been ridiculous for him. So I'm excited to see what Neil looks like at this. I'm sure he's going to look a lot bigger and fuller for sure than he did in Classic. I'm sure we're going to see it. Breaking news: Eddie Hall will replace Blessings as Angelos Gaming. No, that's a joke, right? Eddie Hall's a strong man. Greg Ulisse again, good French, mon ami. Well, I took Spanish, which worked out very well as I married a Cuban woman, and I've had a lot of opportunities. A usar mi español con su familia, but French, never took it, never went anywhere where they speak French except one weekend in Montreal. It's freaking cold. I'm never going back there in January. Olympia was in September and Arnold in March. COVID messed everything up. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. They didn't start doing this December Olympia thing till COVID. So damn you, COVID. Rotten hell, COVID. Yeah. Blessing would have placed towards the bottom, Trailblazer says. Blessing at his best. The Blessing that was at the Olympia was a shitty version of Blessing. He's not going to be offended when I say that because he knows he looked like shit. He looked horrible at the Olympia. Just not the right look for him. Just stringy and nothing was popping. That Blessing would get smoked. But Blessing at his best, the Blessing that we saw one year pro and Indy Pro with better legs would be dangerous. I hope he takes a little time off and builds up those legs, honestly. That's what he needs. He shouldn't. If I were Blessing, I wouldn't go back on stage until my legs were significantly better, because otherwise they're just going to get the same. You're gonna win shows that aren't that tough, but when you get to a show like the Arnold Olympia, you're gonna have real problems because you're going to run into guys who have that crazy shape and fullness and the upper body like you, but they have legs too. So yeah, I think he needs to take a little time off. Trailblazer, you already got that. Rogue Silver. William is going to come in better every time he comes in off. His next show, he brings it. Yeah, that was it. 2021 Olympia, he was off. Then he comes back 2022 Arnold and Boston Pro, looking crazy. Then 2022 Olympia, he's off again. So, yeah, it's like he alternates being off to being spectacular. William Bonac. His next show. Samson isn't just going to walk off like people think. No, I don't think this is going to be like a slam dunk show for any of these guys. Clarita's very good. Samson's very good. Bonac is very good. Akim at his best is top 60 Olympia. Justin Rodriguez is no joke when he's in shape. Kamal El-Garni, Olympia champion, who did pretty well in some open shows last summer. And Neil Curry. It's not a weak ass lineup, guys. It's a smaller lineup, but the Arnold has never been a huge show because it's invitation only. It's typically been between 11 and 15 guys in the lineup. It's never been like 20, 30 like the Olympia has. Never. They've always kept it like a manageable size. So it is smaller now than it's ever been, but it's never been one of those shows with like tons of guys on stage anyway. Not everybody realizes that. Nadim, people don't realize how small Sean is going to look next to Samson. Yeah, I mean, small in stature. He's 5'1" or 5'2", and Samson is like almost 6'2". But you got to remember, Sean beat Regan Grimes. He beat Sergio Oliva Jr. at the Legion Sports last year. Regan's about 6 foot. He was about 260. And Sergio Oliva Jr. also about 6 foot, maybe a little more than that. And he was like 280, 275, 280. So Yeah, I mean, size is great. It's not everything. I mean, I don't know how. I'm curious. I wonder how Sean would have done in the Open Olympia. Big Mike Cox, he said seventh place. I said that's probably fair, like sixth or seventh. And in that lineup, that would have been a phenomenal placing. Hope Nick jumps in, Trailblazer. Yeah, could Phil, even with stomach issues, in condition win this Arnold? Well, we don't know what Phil's stomach looks like now. He might have fixed all that stuff. He's had time. I'd love to see Phil come back. I don't think Phil's done. Yeah, even at the last Olympia where people were saying how bad he looked because his stomach was bulging at times toward the end when he couldn't control it. Everything else was there. The big round full muscles, the grainy hard detail, that really conditioned mature look to the muscles. Phil still has a fantastic physique. I hope Nick jumps in. Yeah. Neil Curry announced JW Andrew Corp. Neil Curry announced he was going open from here on out, but shows doing classic again odd. Well, I did hear from Giles Thomas. He's over in the UK, and who knows Neil? He's had him on his Global Muscle show several times. He said it's confirmed with Neil that he will be doing the open class, which is good. I don't think it would help Neil's career out to do classic again and get beat again by guys like Urs and Ramon, who are younger, and he needs to find his path as an open guy now, which he will. Let's see. Nadim says Nick Walker could have been coming up on his third Arnold. He's going to regret not cementing his legacy with Arnold because he may never win the O. Yeah, I mean, he might win the O. He might never win the O. You don't know. I go back to this all the time. Those of you who are a little older, you remember when Flex Wheeler was winning everything and he was placing like second at the Olympia his first year. We all thought Flex Wheeler would win the Olympia. Sooner or later, he's got to win the Olympia. Sooner or later, right? Nope. Sean Ray, again, another guy who was very, very good. Second place at the Olympia. Never won. And of course, Kevin Leveroni, runner-up 4 times. 4 different times Kevin was runner-up at the Mr. Olympia contest and never won. And if you told me all those years ago, Flex is never going to win the Olympia, Kevin's never going to win the Olympia, Sean never win, I'd be like, oh, come on, one of those guys. But yeah, Olympia's tough, man. It's tough. That's why, I mean, if Ramy never wins the Olympia again, which he may not, he's still got 2 more Olympia titles than most pros, obviously. There's only been, I think, 15 or 16 Olympia champions since 1965. 1965 was like the past millennium. It was a long time ago, guys. It was, wow. It was almost 60 years ago. 58 years ago now. Wow. Trailblazer. There is a chance Nick Walker still does the Arnold. I hope so. I hope he does. Plus he needs to take some time away and grow his legs. Agreed. Trailblazer says the same thing. Needs to bring up his legs. Yeah. Now we go to Moose World. Thanks for those in-depth videos. Nobody does lives like you. Thank you, Moose World. Appreciate that very much. Blessing needs a lot of weight. I don't think he needs a lot of weight. I don't think he's small. He's not a small guy. He's about in the 250s on stage, and he's not quite 6 foot. He's like 5'11". Yeah, I mean he could be a little bigger, but it's really his legs. He's got fantastic shoulders, arms, back, small waist. It's the legs that don't really match because he's so wide up top. You need these big sweeping quads. Not necessarily Ramy quads. Who's got those but Ramy? But when you have that crazy V taper to the upper body, you need that sweep on the legs to make the X frame. That's right. What was that? What was that wrestling thing? Those guys, D-Generation X? Yeah, something like that. He's a beast, bro. He needs to go to Milos. Well, Blessing lives in Florida. Milos is in Las Vegas. But yeah, Milos does. People do go out to Vegas and stay out there for a week or longer. Samson did. Jamie the Giant did. I'd like to see Milos put Blessing through a leg workout. That'd be great. I mean, Milos does all those giant sets with like up to 10 exercises in a row with no rest. Oof. JW Andrew Corp. Scam is a harsh word, yeah, but when you push pay-per-view sales at discounted rates, if paid in advance prior to releasing a horrible lineup, it's a little fishy. Well, also you got to remember, clearly we're all talking about the open lineup because that's the main. That's what I'm the most interested in, and I assume it's what most of you are interested in. But you also have a great classic lineup with Urs and Ramon, and who else was in the classic, man? Look at my crappy system of notes. It's horrible. It was a good lineup, though. I got it here. Okay. Yeah, so Classic has some great stars in it for people who are really big fans. You got Ramon, you got Urs, you got Mike Sommerfeld, Alex Cambronero, Neil Curry is out. Let's cross him off that list. Mehdi Lajarni, Crelo, Jason Brown, Curry, Japara. Yeah, so those are definitely the two biggest names, Ramon and Urs, who are, they're no Bumstead's by far the most popular bodybuilder, classic physique guy on the planet, maybe even bodybuilder. More popular than Rami or Hadi. But man, Ramon and Urs both have, especially Ramon. No dino emojis? Come on, guys. Give me some dino emojis from Brazil here for Ramon. That's your boy. He's awesome. 6 open guys competing at 7 now. Still not a lot more. 2 drop out by far the most pathetic Arnold in history. Trailblazer 82. Derek and Nick should jump in. 100% agree with you. And I hope one or both of them does. I really hope so. I think that's going to bolster the show. It's going to make it a lot more interesting. Derek, this is 200. Derek is listening to Hani Rambod, and I'm sure it's a mutual decision. He's not a puppet. Derek's his own man. He's a grown man. And he makes his own decisions, but he takes advice and counsel and strategy ideas from someone like Hani, who's been in this game a very long time. And Hani didn't want him doing it. Wants him to rest up and then be in the best position possible to win the Mr. Olympia in November. But $200,000. I'm sure he's paid very well by Evogen, and he's got his own other income streams and everything. But 200 grand, maybe it's not a lot as much money as it's still a good chunk of money to say no to. And who's beating him? The only guy that was beating him this recently was Hadi Chupan. Hadi's definitely not going to get another visa to come back for this. It would be not an easy payday because he'd still have to prep and everything for it, but it'd be, unless something goes drastically wrong in the next few weeks, it would be a pretty much foregone conclusion if Derek Lunsford entered that he would win because he's beat all these guys. He's beat them all in the past. I don't think he's beaten Sean or Kamal, but no, actually he has in the 212, and now he's much bigger. So I take it back. S. McGee, I would argue the chemistry between the coach and athlete is more important than the actual coach. Yeah, because this stuff isn't rocket science. I've coached people. I still coach occasionally. It's not that hard. People, they follow a diet. You get there, you see them in person or in pictures or video. You make adjustments. More cardio, less cardio, more carbs, less carbs. Let's switch this out. Let's cycle the carbs. The PEDs, it's all very, very similar. All these guys prep very, very, in a very similar fashion. I don't think there's any of these coaches who do anything groundbreaking that like none of the other coaches do. I think they're all very, very skilled at what they do. All the big name coaches, they've all brought in people in tremendous condition. They've also had some misses with people, but it is chemistry. If you can't really get along with someone and communicate well with them, it's not going to work. So a coach and a client have to click. They have to have really a bond where they can feel like, it's a strong communication where they each, especially the athlete, needs to let the coach know what's going on. If he messed up, if he's feeling good, bad. I mean, they need a good coach wants to know as much feedback as possible so that he or she, it's mostly guys doing the coaching, can make adjustments. Let's see, SMG again. Any sport I've seen the coach is just there to keep the player on track in the right headspace. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the mental aspect. It's keeping these people focused. It's keeping their mind in the right place so they don't start going crazy, getting really negative, or I wouldn't say overconfident. I don't think that's the problem too often. It's really just keeping them focused and on point with everything they need to be doing. Trailblazer 82. Maybe the Arnold should happen a month after the Olympia compared to 2 to 3 months after. More top tier competitors would compete. Agreed. Or like last year, it was 2 weeks before the Olympia. So if it was closer, it's either got to be much closer to it or much further away. There has to be either very little space so that people can comfortably do both shows, and it's just one prep. And I like the idea of having an after, actually, because although not in December, that wouldn't work because now what are we until like New Year's Day or something? But I like that idea because a lot of people they wouldn't want to do the Arnold first because the Olympia is more important. They want that Olympia title. So that happened at the Arnold in 2021. There were a few big name guys who didn't do it because they wanted to focus on the Olympia. But if it was after the Olympia, they wouldn't have to. We wouldn't be running into that problem. Christos Synodinos must be from Greece. Blessing needs to take 1 year to build his legs because his upper body is top 6. Yeah, I don't know how long it'll take him. I think a year is plenty of time, but I don't know if Blessing or his sponsor, Muscle Tech, I don't know if they want him gone from the stage that long or if it's an issue. I don't know. It's a long time to be away from the stage, but if he does need that time, like I said, if I were Blessing, I wouldn't get back up there until my legs were substantially improved, like much better. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same thing. He'll be able to beat a lot of guys, but he's not going to beat the top guys because those guys all have everything he has plus legs. Let's see. Pre-order happens all the time. Yeah, Michael Hatch is letting him know about J. Andrew Corp. The pre-order practice happens all over with a lot of things. Nothing really fishy at all. Yeah, it's just a way, companies do that with all kinds of products. Pre-order and save this amount because they're just trying to get sales. And if you can pre-order and give people an incentive to buy something ahead of time by giving them a little discount and save some money, of course, who wouldn't? If they're going to get it anyway, figure I'll order it now and save, $20 or whatever it is they're going to save. Fabiano Vega, BR, that's for Brazil. What? I told you dino emojis. The little dinosaur. Come on, guys. Johnny, C-Bum being compared to Arnold on social media, is that valid? I mean, you can compare any competitor, any bodybuilder now to any other competitor if you want. Any comparison is valid because you're just stating opinions and you're just making, they're very different people, different physiques, totally different eras, totally different sport and industry that they're part of. You can't compare the bodybuilding industry and sport of 2023 to 1973 when in 74, Arnold's heyday. The world has changed so much, so drastically in so many ways, and physiques have changed drastically. So it's really a tough comparison. Can't rule out Bonac and Akim, would never, especially, Akim for sure, but Bonac, come on. Bonac has won this. He arguably should have won a third one last year when Curry beat him. So, yeah, I would say the three favorites, man. Bonac, Samson, and Clarita. Definitely, it's going to be a battle. Simpson is 5'11". No, he's taller than that. Why beats? I've stood next to him several times. I'm not like the best judge of height, but so if I'm 5'7.5", he's here. He's over 6 foot. I know he's over 6 foot because I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people I know who are about 6 foot or 6'1", and he's right there. He's the same height as all those people that I see on almost a daily basis. How will Breon do in the 212 division? Depends on Breon and how much bigger and fuller he can get. The Breon that was in Classic at 180 pounds would get smoked in the 212. Way too small. But Breon comes in at like 195, 200 with that crazy conditioning, which I believe it's not like he needs to gain 20 pounds. I think he's been losing 10 or more pounds every prep just to make the weight, losing pure muscle mass. So I think he's already 190 or better on stage if he didn't have to suck down to the weight and lose muscle mass. So he's just got to put on another few pounds of muscle. I think he'll do very well. His shape and his muscle quality condition is fantastic. I would love to see Phil in the Arnold. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Armin Nairi, is Arnold only by invitation? Yes. So again, the Arnold committee or whatever they're called, they send out invitations to the very top name guys who they want in their show. And I shouldn't just say guys, it's all these different divisions. And then everybody else, anybody can send an application, say, I'd love to compete in the Arnold, and they review it. And if they feel that this person is a good fit and that person being in their lineup is going to benefit them, meaning it's going to draw a lot of fans, it's going to get a lot of ticket sales, pay-per-views. This is a business, guys. They want the competitors who are going to be the best return on investment because they're going to bring these guys in, fly them in, put them up, get them on stage, and they want the guys who are going to bring the eyeballs, get the people in the seats, get the people buying the pay-per-views. That's what they want. That's the end goal. It's a business. Let's see. Why beats Crezo with better back and midsection will be dangerous. Agreed. Better tan, too. His tan really needs work. Trailblazer 82, what's your prediction for top 5 at this coming Olympia at the end of the year? No. Way too soon, Trailblazer. Way too soon. Too soon. Let's talk to me again we won't even really know who's in the Olympia for sure until like October, September at the earliest. We still got a whole new season to get through. So let's focus. Where is Steve Lorius? He's in New York. Good question. Yeah, there's a few. He's just one of a few people. I was like, sometimes I'll run across a name like, especially classic guys like Steve Lorius, Henri Pierre Arnaud from Canada was very good. And I don't know. Steve he reappeared like a year and a half ago at a show. It's been a little while. He did the Arnold in 2020, I think it was. Was that the year he did it? Or was it 2019? We haven't seen Lorius in a while. So yeah. I did a Ron line with him maybe a year ago just to check in and see what he was doing. And he was supposedly going to get back up there, and I haven't heard anything else since then. Kamal should play second Olympia, Trailblazer. I don't know. I was there. Angel Calderon Frias was pretty damn good. He was very thick, wide, great condition. He definitely had the legs over Kamal. He definitely had overall mass, and he had that width. So Kamal's awesome, but I didn't have a real problem with Angel beating him. It was close. Had it gone the other way, I wouldn't have complained either. So JW Intercorp. Derek's Evaging contract must be big money to pass up almost a guaranteed $200K payday. I would think so. I mean, it's, their top guys are, Tani's top guys are Hadi and Derek, so I would hope he's paying them well. Hani's not a cheap guy. I'm pretty sure he's taking care of them. Tyler Durden, what happened to the days when bodybuilders accepted that they probably won't win the O? Blessing Hunter will most likely not win the Olympia, so do the New York Pro Arnold Tampa. And I hear what you're saying, but that's kind of defeatist. It's kind of like, I'm not that good. I mean, every pro bodybuilder who gets to the Olympia, they aspire to win the Olympia. For them to say I can never win, that's a really tough pill to swallow. And if you've been, I feel top 5 or top 6 in Olympia, you're probably good enough on a given day under the right circumstances to win. If you got that high up, you're the top 5 or top 6 best built physiques on planet Earth. If you're that good, that exceptional, you probably do have what it takes to be Mr. Olympia. Will you win? Maybe, maybe not. But you definitely have the potential. So for someone to say, I feel like that would just be admitting defeat, saying like for Blessing to say, I can never win the Olympia. You know what? When Ronnie Coleman came on the scene, I don't think anybody was thinking he was going to win the Olympia. I certainly, he wasn't on my radar. Not many people were worried about Ronnie Coleman, trust me. And if Blessing brings up his legs and continues to improve, who knows? I don't like to write people off because I've seen people make so many improvements over time, and especially after they're written off. They really lights a fire under a lot of people. But yeah, I'd like to see these people do all the shows. Nadeem, how come bodybuilding still hasn't figured out standardized lighting and backdrops for all the shows? If it's supposed to be like art, if it's supposed to be like an art show museum, the physique should be displayed appropriately. Well, it's not though. It's a business. It's like sports entertainment, almost like pro wrestling with the spectacle, with the giant screens and all the digital stuff going on. Yeah, to really assess the physiques and get the full appreciation of them, sure, you'd want a plain backdrop, but it's not very exciting. And they're trying to make these shows look exciting and glamorous and like high production values, and they do. If you went to the Olympia, man, it was like being at a rock concert. The lights, the music, my seats were, the fillings in my teeth were like vibrating from the bass. It was so loud. And then, can I ask a question? Why is the Olympia, this is CC, why is the Olympia not televised rather than pay-per-view? I would think the supplement companies would support it, would open up to a larger audience. Well, see, that's where you're a little mistaken. Is the money to put something on television, like network TV, like in the old days, bodybuilding, the Mr. Olympia was on TV in the old days. Networks, ABC and NBC used to run it. ESPN had it on a few times. I was actually on the production crew for a few of the ESPN event productions, 1-hour specials that we made of the Mr. Olympia and the Ms. Olympia. Back in the 90s, I worked on that when I was living out in California. But times have changed, and the supplement companies don't have the money to get something on network. They don't have the money of these sponsors. So when you're watching Monday Night Football or basketball or any of the major, the mainstream sports, big sponsors, it's car companies like Toyota, Ford, Honda, it's beverage companies, Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, it's Budweiser beer. It's huge companies, billions and billions of dollars in revenue. They have the money to spend on the ads. and to support a television broadcast. Supplement companies don't have that kind of money. We think they do because, oh, well, we buy these supplements. They must have billions and billions of dollars. No, not like, they don't have like Coca-Cola money. They don't have Toyota automobile money. No, they don't have that kind of money. But yeah, I don't think putting it on TV would open it up to a larger audience. It was on TV, and the ratings were dropping. Most people don't want to look at these big, I'll say it, juiced up freaks. That's what people think when they see these pro bodybuilders on TV. You know, I can remember even back in the day when it was on TV, I'd be in like a sports bar or something. It would come on, and people would start going, change the channel. They didn't want to see it. They didn't want it on. Most people don't like it. It's us. We're the people that really follow bodybuilding and love to watch it. We're typically bodybuilders, most of us. Whereas mainstream sports, they're just sports fans. They don't play football or basketball. They don't aspire to. You know, they're not out practicing their football game every day or at the basketball court, but they love watching it on TV. Whereas you kind of have to live this life to an extent to really appreciate and to want to watch bodybuilding. And most people have no interest. That's all. It's supply and demand, and there's just not. If there was a demand, there would be the supply. It's all supply and demand. If there was money to be made, it would be on TV. There's no money to be made. Trust me, these people are all about money. If they could make money off bodybuilding, they would, and they don't. Why it's still so messy. Theatrics. Yeah, Nadim, I'm done with that discussion. So moving on to Trailblazer, your most improved bodybuilder 22, bodybuilder the best season, best ambassador bodybuilder 22, bodybuilder looked the best in person. Well, that's like the awards. Man, we should have done that. Me and Giles should have done that. Most improved bodybuilder 2022. Didn't I say who that was? Samson. I think that's Samson. I would say Samson Dauda. I give him that most improved. Rookie of the year was Andrew Jacked. Best season? I don't know. Who won the most shows? I don't know. Andrew had a good season. He won his first 2 shows. Blessing won 2 shows. A few people. Yeah. That's a lot of stuff to talk about at once. JW Intercorp, guys, I get how pre-orders work. LOL. Just saying, if I had pre-ordered and this lineup was released, and 2 more guys drop out, leaving 4 open guys competing, I'd be asking for a refund for sure. Well, I assume they'd give you a refund in that. I don't know what the refund policy is, but maybe they would. Samson, Robert now Samson is 6'1", I believe. Yeah, like I said, I know. I've stood next to him several times. I know he's at least 6 foot. I know he is. Tyrone Booley, Blessing needs to take time off for real work on them legs. Try to win his first show, because he's already won 2, later in the year, and try to win the qualifier for next year's Olympia. Yeah, it's not a bad strategy. Nadim says, also, the O should be the most elite 15 in the world. It loses its prestige with so many athletes in it. Could be looked at differently if they shaved off a lot of people and made it more elite. I agree with you on that. Totally agree with you. 30 guys was too much. That's not very elite. There were too many shows. We had a very long season. The Olympia was in October of 2021, and then it wasn't held again until December of the next year. So 14 months between. There was a lot of contests. A lot of people won shows and earned their right to the Olympia. And then we still had the point system, which was just discontinued. So that's another 3 guys you can tack on to all the show winners. So it was a lot of guys. It was too many guys. I agree with him on that. Qualifying round first. Yeah, that's what people have said. Like maybe have a round where you trim off 15 guys. And, you know, there's time, and I hope that they figure out a way to sort of trim down the sheer numbers. There were over 400 competitors in the Olympia, all across all 11 divisions. 400 athletes. You know, now you're talking like the Olympics or something, for goodness sake. Now someone's going to tell me how many people in the Olympics, and I'm way off. I don't know how many people in the Olympics. S. McG. At the Olympia, I wish they had regulated and clear marks on the stage and the camera, always in the same position every year. Then people could splice the photos and match people from different years better. Well, they're not worried about that. They're not worried about that. That's, you know, you're already thinking ahead to like comparisons you want to make in photos or videos. That's not their priority. Trailblazer 82. Kai and Dexter should do Master Olympia. I think Dexter has already gone on record saying no way. Kai, I asked him at the Olympia on this channel on one of our videos, and I'm going to have to look at it again. I don't think he gave me an answer. He talked for a while, but I don't think there was any actual answer to my question, which is not uncommon. Christos Synodinos. I wonder if you're a fan of Dr. Tuliados. Henri Pierre is a personal trainer at my gym in Atlantis Gym. Crazy potential. Oh, Henri Pierre had an amazing physique. Taller guy. Beautiful shape. Long limbs. I remember that. Could have filled out a little more, but he looked great. Nadim, it should be all the winners of shows have to compete against each other in a show leading up to the O, and the top 10 go to the O. Or maybe they have that show earlier in the day before, have it as part of the Olympia weekend, like the preliminaries or the semifinals or something like that. That's not a bad idea. And then you'll get rid of, you'll trim it down, and then you only have to worry about 10 or maybe 15 at the actual Olympia. Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I like the general idea. I'm hopelessly addicted to fentanyl. Oh no, what a horrible screen name that is. If that's the case, please seek help. Masters Olympia is the most stupid idea ever. Oh, you posted this exact thing on another video we just had. It's literally encouraging old people to abuse steroids. Well, they're going to do it anyway. I mean, these aren't like people that are, hey, I think I'm going to start abusing steroids. These are people who have been using steroids for many, many years anyway. But I do see your point. I see your point on that. And Milos feels the same way as you. He doesn't think it's a good idea for men in their, late 40s, 50s, and beyond to be pushing a bunch of gear into their bodies. He doesn't, and prepping. It's probably not a great idea. All right, fentanyl. Should Andrew have placed 7th instead of 8th? What would it matter? It's just one placing. What does it matter? Would the world be different? Would Andrew's life be different if he had been 7th instead of 8th? No. Who cares? I don't mean to brush it off, but it's like it's so minor. One placing. So he's going to do much better this year. I believe that. I believe he's going to be much higher in the Olympia this year. Arnold Classic Open competitor, probably the worst lineup. I think you said that already, Joseph. Maybe not. Trailblazer, 30-plus competitors in the Open at the Olympia is way too much. They should cut it to 15 competitors only. Agreed. Joseph, $200K is big money for bodybuilding. Why the top athletes don't want to compete in the Arnold? It's good money, but if they know they're burnt out, their bodies, their minds and their bodies are just burnt out from already prepping for the Olympia, it could be $2 million. They know they're going to look like crap. Some guys can do these multiple shows without much breaks, and their bodies don't show a lot of wear and tear. Other guys you see, they look worse and worse. They lose muscle. The muscles don't push against the skin. They can't get their condition right. Their bodies are just like, they're done. Their bodies are saying, I'm done. I'm not responding to this anymore. I need a break. That's why. But I agree, it's a good chunk of change to pass up. Audio Impact. I remember watching Bodybuilding on TV back when I'd record on VHS, many shows, couples, women's. Yeah. I worked on a show for 8 years on ESPN, which later moved to ESPN2, but it was called American Muscle. It was called American Muscle Magazine, and I think we shortened the name eventually to American Muscle. It was an hour show, then they dropped us to a half hour, but we were on TV. That show was on before I got there. I got there in 91. They had already been on the air for, I think, 3 years at that point. And I think they stayed, I left in 98, and I think they were around another 2 or 3 years after that. So it was actually, for many years, it was the longest running show on ESPN after Sports Center. It was American Muscle Magazine. Good old days, man. SMG. My girlfriend says the bodybuilders look like meatballs. Well, there are worse things to look like than a meatball. Johnny, they want to see rainbow-colored freaks? Oh. Talking about like regular people, that's what they want to see? Robert, now it's exactly, if you're a fan of bodybuilding, you lift. I don't know too many fans that don't. I don't. You see, you go to the Olympia and the Arnold, you walk around, and a lot of the fans are jacked. A lot of them they look like pros, or at least, you can tell, most of them you can tell they lift. A lot of them are on gear. A lot of them are, they live the life. Like, maybe they've competed before, maybe they compete at the amateur level, maybe they never competed, but a lot of them, they live the life, training, eating, for a lot of them gear. That is part of the lifestyle for a lot of us. The first Olympia I watched was on VHS. JB's, the first Olympia I watched on VHS was 91 during Nate's debut. That was my first Olympia that I attended. It was in Orlando, Florida. It was Lee Haney's 8th and last Olympia. And I was 21 years old, and it was an amazing experience because it was my first Olympia and I was working. I was backstage seeing all these guys in the pump-up room, interviewing them. 21 years old, little wannabe meathead kid from Boston. I was in heaven. It was a great time. And yeah, Dorian. I remember seeing Dorian backstage in his tracksuit, like, this the guy from England they think's so great, like he might beat Lee Haney. I'm like, he doesn't look like much to me. Then he took the tracksuit off. I'm like, oh, all right, never mind. He looked twice the size when he took the tracksuit off and started pumping up. And that's when I realized, yeah, he was enclosed. Dorian was like an illusion back then. It was that tracksuit. They called it the TARDIS from Doctor Who because it made him look small. The color of the cut, it really played down his real size. Because when he had that on, he looked like an athletic guy that lifted, but you wouldn't think, oh my God, this guy's going to be Mr. Olympia. No. PCB, Mr. O 2022 had far too many competitors. Arnold 2023 hasn't enough superstars competing. Both extremes impact negatively on the prestige of these two great shows. Yeah, I think so many people in the Olympia watered down the prestige and the quality of it because you just had too many people. In this, you want more people in the Arnold. You don't want 30 people. You don't want a ton of people. But I think the Arnold has always had that sweet spot of, I'd say an average of 12. For many, many years, it was right around 12. Sometimes as low as 11, sometimes as high as like 14, maybe 15. It never went over 15. I'm pretty sure that was like their absolute cap. But 12 was like their sweet spot. It was always mostly all big names for the most part. Audio Impact, I bought the WBF championships on VHS. Still have it. That was Vince McMahon's organization that he tried for a couple of years. Nadeem, I really appreciate you answering all my questions. Thank you. Well, thanks for being part of this, Nadeem. JW Andrew Corp. Google says Samson's 5'11". Yeah. Google also says Fawad is a multimillionaire. He himself said that's BS, so take Google info. Yeah, don't believe everything you read online, guys. Come on. I know it's tempting, but like everything on Facebook isn't true. Everything in a Google search that comes, I could tell you, I don't know all the details of everything that's incorrect or not, but Samson is definitely not 5'11". He's definitely taller than that. Blessing's legs need a lot of work, plus his attitude doesn't help him. Christos, cheers, brother. Thank you. Don Youngblood, Master Olympia, ended up dying. Yeah, Don was a tragic story because he got into bodybuilding very late in his life. I want to say late 30s or early 40s, and I don't know if he even lived to 50, Don. He didn't last long. He got huge. He always looked unhealthy to me, like a toxic, like a purple, like he looked like he had really high blood pressure to me all the time. He probably did. And, God rest his soul, he didn't last long. He didn't live very long, Don. Very short career. E3, 6mm. I missed the early 2000 physiques. New Ryan of guys just doesn't seem as hard and dense. Just me. Not a lot of people feel that way. Trailblazer Raid 2, is bulking required to improve in the off season? You don't need to get bulky fat, but you need to have more. You need to have enough calories to build. So you need to be in a caloric surplus to gain weight, just like you need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. That's like we'll do that on live one of these times. We'll talk more about that. Trailblazer, crazy seeing guys over 300 pounds under 5'9" height in the off season. Yeah. I mean, Nick Walker was like 300 at whatever he is, 5. I think he says he's 5'7". I'll give him 5'7". Trailblazer, love your channel. Thank you. Do you need AI for TRT? I never did. Depends on your estrogen levels, Nadeem. If you have high estrogen that you need to manage, but some guys don't get higher estrogen on TRT. It's based on your needs. If you don't need it, you don't need to take, if you don't have high estrogen, you don't need to take anything to lower your estrogen. So it's all based on your blood work, and you want to work with an actual medical professional on that, not just some schmuck like me. Tyrone, how many competitors in this year's Arnold? I started watching after live started. So right now we have 7. 7, yeah. Don't beat a very good Vince Taylor. Vince Taylor is how old now? He's in his 60s. He still looks fantastic. Maybe he'll come back. He could. Vince was, how many of those has he won? I think Vince has 5 Masters Olympia titles already, 6. He was winning that thing like every year for a while. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys participating in the live. Yeah, so this started off and we went off in many different directions. But yeah, blessing Awodibu, not in the Arnold Classic. He's going to take some time off, which I'm in agreement with. I think Blessing just needs some time to work on those legs, bring them up to match that incredible upper body that he has. The potential is still there for Blessing. He just needs a little work. He's a work in progress like a lot of these guys. And then he's going to be coming back better and bigger and better and improved. And that's what it's all about. So again, thanks you guys. Thank you for being part of this, for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, smash that like button. Leave some comments below. I'll get to them later. Was that anything important in the end? All good, Ron, or new Ron line with Milos? Oh, shit. Okay, so Jen got some great news for you. Coming up on this channel, not live, but it is an interview I did with Milos Sarshev Friday night, which was totally out of the blue. I made a comment on his Instagram where he was talking about how posing should be judged. He called me ignorant. We went back and forth, and I said, you know what? Let's settle this on a Ron line. He's like, all right, let's go. And it's coming up next. It's Milos Sarcev on why posing should be judged. Please check it out. Very happy. Jen spent the whole day editing it. It came out fantastic. Milos made some very good, possibly controversial points, like he always does. Milos always speaks his mind. So check that out right here on this channel, coming up next. Thanks for watching. See you next time.